Good evening. Tonight, we begin with a moment that is both quiet and urgent, the kind that does not arrive with fanfare but with consequence. In Europe, in the middle of winter, France has announced that it will convene a conference call. Not a summit, not a ceremony, a call. The participants will include the G7 nations, along with Nordic and Baltic states. The purpose is singular and pressing: to coordinate emergency energy assistance for Ukraine. That announcement came as Russian attacks intensified, damaging critical energy infrastructure inside Ukraine. Electricity systems, heating systems, the things that keep people warm when temperatures drop and the days grow short. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has formally declared an energy emergency. Those are careful words, chosen for precision. An energy emergency. Electricity shortages are worsening. Heating shortages are spreading. And this is happening in freezing winter conditions. France, in response, says it will supply electricity and power generators. This is part of broader allied aid, coordinated across multiple governments, in real time, under pressure. One official described the situation simply: "This is about keeping the power on." That line lands quietly, but it carries weight. Because when we talk about energy infrastructure, we are not talking about abstract systems or distant grids. We are talking about heat in homes, light in hospitals, electricity that allows daily life to continue. France's decision to host this call signals urgency. It signals that the damage is not theoretical and not delayed. It is happening now. The announcement does not change any facts on the ground by itself. It does not restore power. It does not repair a single line or restart a single generator. But it acknowledges reality. Russian attacks have damaged critical infrastructure. Ukraine is facing worsening shortages. Winter conditions are already present. And so governments are picking up the phone. France's role here is specific. It is hosting. It is coordinating. It is also contributing directly by supplying electricity and power generators. This is not described as a future plan. It is described as emergency assistance. There is no rhetoric attached to that word. Emergency means immediate. Emergency means now. The G7, along with Nordic and Baltic states, are being brought into the same conversation at the same time. That matters. It means this is not bilateral. It is not fragmented. It is coordinated. The announcement itself is brief. It does not embellish. It does not speculate. It states that critical energy infrastructure has been damaged. It states that electricity and heating shortages are worsening. It states that winter conditions are freezing. And then it states what will happen next. A call. A coordination effort. Electricity and generators sent. Sometimes, one diplomat said, the most important thing is speed. That is not analysis. That is description. Ukraine's energy systems have been under strain. The declaration of an energy emergency formalizes what had already become visible on the ground. Shortages are not projected. They are present. France's announcement does not include predictions. It does not outline timelines beyond the immediate action. It does not frame this as symbolic. It frames it as necessary. The choice to involve Nordic and Baltic states alongside the G7 is not incidental. These are countries with experience in cold weather energy demands. They are countries for whom winter infrastructure is not optional. But again, the announcement does not elaborate. It simply lists who will be on the call. The structure is minimal. The tone is urgent. And the context is unavoidable. Winter does not wait. Cold does not negotiate. Zelensky's declaration of an energy emergency is not accompanied by flourish. It is a statement of condition. Electricity shortages, heating shortages, freezing temperatures. The words do not compete with each other. They accumulate. France's response is framed as part of broader allied aid, not separate, not standalone. This is coordination, not improvisation. And in moments like this, coordination itself becomes a form of infrastructure. There is no mention of debates, no mention of delays, no mention of disagreement, just a call being scheduled. And that may sound small, but it is not. Because in international responses to infrastructure damage, the first step is often alignment. Who is sending what? How quickly? Where it will go? France has said what it will send. Electricity, power generators. Those are tangible. And they are needed when systems are damaged and winter is already underway. One official summarized it this way: people need heat. That's the baseline. Again, not opinion, just fact. This is where we are tonight. Russian attacks have intensified. Critical energy infrastructure has been damaged. Ukraine has declared an energy emergency. France is convening allies to coordinate emergency support. And this is only the beginning of what that coordination will involve. When France announced it would host this conference call, it did so against a backdrop that is already fully formed. Russian attacks have intensified. Critical energy infrastructure in Ukraine has been damaged, and the effects of that damage are no longer abstract. Electricity shortages are worsening. Heating shortages are worsening, and winter conditions are freezing. That sequence matters, because energy infrastructure is not something that fails all at once. It degrades, it narrows, it becomes insufficient. And at a certain point, governments stop using conditional language and start using declarative terms. That is what happened when Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy declared an energy emergency. An energy emergency is not a metaphor. It is an administrative and operational status. It signals that ordinary capacity is no longer enough. France's response comes directly after that declaration, not weeks later, not after deliberation. France said it will host a conference call with G7 nations, along with Nordic and Baltic states, to coordinate emergency energy assistance. The word coordinate does a lot of work here. This is not described as exploratory. It is not framed as preliminary. It is coordination of assistance that is already understood to be necessary. France also specified its own contribution: electricity, power generators. Those two items tell you something important about the nature of the damage. Electricity can be supplied externally when internal generation or transmission is disrupted. Power generators are used when centralized systems cannot reliably deliver power where it is needed. Neither is symbolic. Both are functional. And both are designed to address immediate shortages. The announcement does not include estimates. It does not list megawatts or timelines. It does not expand beyond the facts. It simply states that these supplies will be part of broader Allied aid. That phrase matters as well. Broader Allied aid means this is not isolated to one country's response. It means multiple governments are acting in parallel, under a shared understanding of urgency. The conference call itself is a mechanism for that alignment. It allows participants to understand what is damaged, what is available, and how quickly assistance can move. There is no mention of rebuilding in this announcement, no mention of long-term restoration. This is emergency support. Electricity and heat during freezing winter conditions. One official involved in the preparation said quietly, "This is about continuity." That line does not explain itself. It does not need to. Continuity of electricity, continuity of heating, continuity of basic services. When Zelenskyy declared an energy emergency, it was not accompanied by elaboration. It did not need to be. Electricity shortages and heating shortages are worsening. That is the condition. The announcement from France reflects that same restraint. It mirrors the tone of the situation. There is no rhetorical escalation, no framing beyond what is already visible. Russian attacks have damaged critical energy infrastructure. Winter conditions are freezing. Emergency assistance is required. That is the chain. The inclusion of Nordic and Baltic states alongside the G7 is noted without explanation. but their presence on the call signals readiness and relevance. These are countries accustomed to managing energy systems under cold conditions. But again, the announcement does not draw that out. It simply lists them, because this is not a briefing. It is an action notice. France's role as host is also precise. Hosting does not mean directing. It means convening. It means ensuring that all relevant parties are on the line at the same time, sharing the same information. That matters when infrastructure damage evolves quickly. Electricity shortages can change by the hour. Heating shortages can expand overnight. Freezing winter conditions remove margin for delay. France has said it will supply electricity and power generators. That statement stands on its own. It does not wait for the outcome of the call. It is part of what France brings to the table. Other Allied aid is referenced, but not itemized. The announcement stays within its factual bounds. It does not describe routes. It does not describe quantities. It describes intent and action. Emergency energy assistance. One diplomat summarized the situation with a simple sentence. There's no pause button in winter. That line is not analysis. It is observation. The declaration of an energy emergency is a signal to partners as much as it is an internal designation. It says that systems are under strain. It says that outside assistance is required. France's response acknowledges that signal. By convening a call with G7 nations and Nordic and Baltic states, France is creating a shared operational moment. Everyone hears the same update. Everyone understands the same urgency. That is how coordination begins. The announcement does not speculate about future attacks. It does not describe past damage in detail. It stays focused on the present condition and the immediate response. Electricity and heating shortages are worsening. Winter conditions are freezing. Assistance is being coordinated. This is not a policy debate. It is an emergency response. And emergency responses tend to strip language down to essentials. What is broken? What is needed? Who can help? France has answered at least one of those questions. Electricity, power generators. The call will address the rest. The fact that this is being done via conference call is also telling. There is no time for formal gatherings, no time for travel. This is done remotely, quickly, efficiently, because the systems involved do not wait. One participant described the preparation this way. Everyone already knows why we're calling. That sentence captures the moment. There is no need for persuasion, no need for framing. The facts are sufficient. Russian attacks have damaged critical energy infrastructure. Ukraine has declared an energy emergency. Winter conditions are freezing. From there, action follows. France's announcement does not conclude anything. It opens a process, a call, a coordination effort. Emergency energy assistance. And as that call takes place, the situation on the ground remains unchanged until assistance arrives. That is the tension at the center of this moment. Not uncertainty, urgency. And that urgency is what brings governments onto the same line at the same time. As this process moves towards its conclusion, what remains striking is how contained the facts are. There is no ambiguity in what has been said. There is no expansion beyond what has been confirmed. Russian attacks have intensified. Critical energy infrastructure in Ukraine has been damaged. Those two facts sit at the foundation of everything that follows. From there, the consequences unfold in a straight line. Electricity shortages are worsening. Heating shortages are worsening. And all of this is happening in freezing winter conditions. That context is not inferred. It is stated. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy declared an energy emergency. That declaration does not interpret the situation. It names it, an energy emergency. France responded by announcing it will host a conference call. The participants will include G7 nations, as well as Nordic and Baltic states. The purpose of the call is to coordinate emergency energy assistance for Ukraine, not to discuss whether assistance is needed, not to evaluate the severity, to coordinate. France also stated that it will supply electricity and power generators. Those are concrete contributions. They are not conditional. They are presented as part of broader Allied aid. That phrase remains intentionally open, but not vague. It signals that multiple partners are involved and that assistance is not limited to one source. Nothing in the announcement suggests delay. Nothing suggests uncertainty. The call is happening because the conditions already exist. Electricity shortages and heating shortages are not potential outcomes. They are current realities. Freezing winter conditions do not allow for gradual response. One official involved described the moment with a quiet clarity. This is about now. That sentence does not dramatize, it clarifies. Energy infrastructure, once damaged, does not pause its effects. The absence of electricity is immediate. The absence of heat is felt quickly. France's role in convening this call reflects that immediacy. Hosting a conference call is not ceremonial, it is functional. It ensures that G7 nations, Nordic states, and Baltic states are aligned at the same moment, working from the same understanding of the situation. This alignment is essential when assistance involves electricity and generators. Those resources must be matched to need. They must be delivered where infrastructure is compromised. The announcement does not detail logistics. It does not outline deployment paths or schedules. That absence is not omission. It is restraint. The purpose of the announcement is to confirm action, not to narrate process. Zelensky's declaration of an energy emergency stands as the clearest indicator of severity. Declarations of that kind are not issued lightly. They formalize conditions that have already surpassed normal thresholds. Electricity shortages worsening, heating shortages worsening. Those phrases repeat because they define the moment. France's response does not reinterpret those facts. It accepts them. By offering electricity and power generators, France is addressing both grid-level disruption and localized failure. Electricity can stabilize broader systems. Generators can sustain critical services when centralized systems are compromised. Again, these are not symbolic gestures. They are practical. The inclusion of Nordic and Baltic states on the call underscores the focus on cold weather resilience. But the announcement does not explain that. It simply includes them. Because explanation is not the priority, coordination is. One participant described the call preparations this way: everyone's looking at the same map. That image is simple. It conveys shared awareness without adding information. The announcement from France is careful not to expand beyond verified facts. It does not assign motives. It does not describe intent beyond assistance. It does not speculate on future developments. It states what has happened. It states what is happening. And it states what will be done. Russian attacks damaged critical energy infrastructure. Ukraine declared an energy emergency. France will host a call to coordinate emergency energy assistance. France will supply electricity and power generators. That is the full arc. The broader Allied aid referenced remains broader by design. It allows for flexibility without committing to specifics not yet finalized. But the direction is clear. This is an emergency response to an emergency condition. Winter conditions are already freezing. There is no buffer built into that reality. Electricity shortages and heating shortages affect hospitals, homes, and essential services simultaneously. Those impacts do not wait for consensus documents or formal statements. They demand response. France's announcement functions as a signal to allies and to observers. The signal is not rhetorical. It is operational. A call is being convened. Assistance is being coordinated. Supplies are being committed. One diplomat summarized the moment in a sentence that carries no embellishment. This is what coordination looks like. That line does not praise, it describes. There is no conclusion announced in the statement, no claim of resolution, because nothing has been resolved yet. Energy infrastructure has been damaged. Emergency assistance is being mobilized. Those two facts coexist. The announcement does not suggest that the situation will improve immediately. It does not promise restoration. It promises effort. Electricity, power generators, coordination among allied nations. That is where the process stands. The declaration of an energy emergency remains in effect. The winter conditions remain unchanged. The response is underway, but the need persists. And so the facts remain steady. France will host a conference call with G7 nations, Nordic and Baltic states. The goal is to coordinate emergency energy assistance for Ukraine. France will supply electricity and power generators as part of broader allied aid. There is no further inference to draw, no conclusion to project. This is a moment defined by immediacy and restraint. The language used reflects that. The actions announced reflect that. And that is where this account comes to rest.